You recently tweeted that defeating President Tinubu in 2027 will be easier than in 2023. What specific changes or development has happened between now and then? And empirically, what are the facts to show that Tinubu, who had an 8 million vote recorded and announced for him against a Peter Obi who had a 6 million vote, will be able, if he emerges as the candidate of the ADC, will be able to defeat? And considering that the APC now have 29 governors in the kitty, controlling state structure in 29 places, and you think that you can be able to easily defeat that kind of structure?
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing, I need you to calm down, take a deep breath, and listen. So when you said empirical evidence, which I've told me when I'm coming, I would have brought out the research.
Your calculator and your...
But anyway, in spite of that, let me go ahead and give you some. Just to say that I think in 2007, if I'm not mistaken, PDP was controlling as much as 20, maybe 7 or such numbers. Not sure of the figure. Now that's why I say if you had told me, but you pull out the figure when you're doing the testing. They were controlling as much, governor. It didn't mean that PDP was not defeated at the end of the day. That's number one. On this issue of governors that people talk about, I think, are they up to 30 now that they're controlling? It's a show of strength that it's not there. So because, of course, Tinubu knows he has lost the people, so he's doing everything possible for him to be able to show, to have a perception of strength that is not available. And that's why you see him doing everything he can to bring in the governors. So just like you saw with the PDP in Zamfara, I think it was, where you had the governor who decided that he was going to join the ruling party, and what ended up happening? He ended up losing. I'm just taking you, along. So that, I think that was, what's his name again? Zamfara, the current Minister of Defense State.
Yeah.
I'm a bit poor with names. So
Bello Matawalle.
Bello Matawalle. He left the party, where that he had won in and joined the ruling party, and he ended up being defeated. That is going to happen to a lot of governors. Now also, if you look at the structure of APC, where you now have a lot of these governors have come in. And some of the reports are coming out that some of them were promised automatic tickets when they come in and stuff. And now we are also hearing some reports that they are saying, oh no. Guess what? In this last election, there were people who had wanted to run or had run within that party, and they lost. Let me take Kano as an example. There was a gubernatorial candidate of APC gubernatorial candidate in Kano. And then now, that same person, by the time you go into next election, you're telling that person that, oh, you can't run just because this governor has come, has joined. And then what message is that going to send? And you know the way the political machinery works. For some states, they have what they call, is it like a region? Mm-hmm. I can't remember, I'm looking for the word now, where it is certain senatorial zone that will produce this and produce that. If it passes your turn, you miss it, you're going to stay the next maybe 8 years before you get in. And for some people, they know time is not on their side. There's going to be a huge fight. Just watch it and say that Aisha Yusuful told you. There's going to be an impulsion in APC. By the time the fighting starts, as we go on, that's enough to take care of them. That's one. Let's come back to the other issues for me. If you look at, I look at Lagos State. For me, I'm the kind of person that I always look at things and put them, look at the repercussion of every action that it's done and what the implication both now and later. In Lagos State, there was something quite, maybe people might not think it's really important, but for me, I think it's something that is very instrumental. When Obasa, the Speaker of the House, Obasa, was removed, and then by an overwhelming majority, and the other lady, I think Mojisola, Honorable Mojisola, I'm sorry, I'm a bit poor with names, was now installed. Miranda, yes. And the whole back and forth that went through with it, and where, according to reports, Tinubu was not happy with that, whether his wife was not happy. And there was a meeting that they did. They all came to Abuja, including the governor, deputy governor. There's another, is it APC stakeholder? I can't remember what they call them now, in that same Lagos, who came in. And at the end of the day, they were forced to return Obasa. In doing that, I can tell you there are people who are not happy. Because I remember that meeting they said, Tinubu is not God. There was one who had said, Tinubu is not God. He cannot come and tell us what we are going to do in this. They've already made the decision. They've removed Obasa. They've installed this Soma. You know all of that. But at the end of the day, that's reversed. What then that happens is that there are people who will now be unhappy because they were sort of like, I'm looking for the word now, shown in a light that is not good. You understand? When you are just it's not demoralized. There's a particular word I'm looking for, but I can't get it. But they were slighted. Let me use that word. They were slighted. And so there will be that anger that is waiting for as you go into 2027. Not all of that. Keep that in mind. I'm building up something. Another thing also, a lot of people who were his allies for the 2023 election are no longer his allies. There are some of them who are very angry and very bitter at the way and manner in which they were treated. And some of them have vowed they will do everything. They know the secrets. And some of them have also revealed how they did the rigging. They know the in and out. So when you're going into a race where the people who you had worked with everything, you have now in a way make them angry at you, it becomes more difficult. That's another one. The whole hula baloo happening in Rivers State, that can also be another thing. And you know, of course, Wike being Wike, anything can happen. These are just on the part of his political allies and structure. Let me come back to the issue of generality of Nigerians. There were some who, in all honesty to them, they believed he had the capacity to do the things that they felt he was going to do. One of the things you will agree with is that there was something that Tinubu enjoyed, which was the lot of reforms that the Obasanjo administration were doing. Lagos was a beneficiary of those reforms. And whether you like it or not, it also added to all that outlook of the way Lagos went. Even though you could see Fashola did amazingly, well after. So there were some people who felt that, oh, he had done it before. He has, what do this thing they used to call it? He can organize teams, master strategies that we have not seen. The strategy is not strategizing, organize team and everything. But by him coming in and all of these things that we see in Nigeria now, where there's no strategy anywhere, everything has fallen down, things have become far worse. I mean, if anybody had told me that anyone can be worse than the presidency of President Muhammadu Buhari, I would have said it's a lie. But, I mean, Buhari is looking like a hero right now, based on the things that are on ground.
You think that this government is a failure?
I don't think so. I say so.
It's
a failure. There is the illegitimate government that we have that rigged itself into office, that shouldn't have been into office. It's an abysmal failure, the kind of failure, unprecedented, that has never been seen in Nigeria. So let me land on where I'm going to. You asked me for empirical evidence, and I'm just starting. And so the fact that they have failed so much, and a very vivid example to the common man, it's someone on Twitter who saw a receipt that he had used to buy certain things in 2020. Remember in 2020, people were crying how bad things were because things had become very expensive compared to 2015 when President Muhammadu Buhari had taken over. Things were very bad. And that 2020, someone saw a receipt of that, and I think he did that shopping in 2025, December or January 26, I'm not sure now. He went to do similar, he bought the same thing, where in 2020 he spent about 20-something thousand. In 2025 or early 20 or 2026, he spent about 140-something thousand. That tells you everything. There is nothing you're going to say to the person on the street that can no longer feed himself. There's no propaganda. You can do propaganda before election, but in governance, you can't do propaganda because people are feeling it. And so the people who now are more, who had supported him, a lot of them are no longer willing to support him. A lot of them have said it's not about tribe. you can be, it's not about Milokon or whatever it is, that it doesn't matter what tribe you are, whether you're the same street with someone who puts himself in there and takes over your resources and using it. If it's not using it well, it's going to affect you. So there are a lot of these things. These are the empirical evidence that are on ground. And so those people now have withdrawn their support. And then you now also have the northern part of Nigeria. And I'll tell you, the northern part of Nigeria was the part, especially the northwest, was the part that gave Tinubu the critical number he needed to rig election. Because for you to be able to rig election, you have to have a critical number. And I'll tell you, if you don't have a critical number, the only rigging you can do is to reduce the margin and the accumulation, like what happened in places like Lagos State, Plateau State and all of that, where there was rigging, but it was not rigging to win, it was rigging to reduce the margin. So having provided that critical number that led to the rigging that got him, sworn in and all of that, and the way he has treated that same region, there is an anger, and they're saying we're going to meet at the ballot paper. So forget whether he's picking up governors left, right, and center, inducing them to come over. Even those governors know that they do not have the people, the support of the people. So it's free for all. Okay, some people, I don't know, it's allegations. Some people are saying that, these governors are being paid huge amount of money for them to come. I don't know how factual that is. If that is in its own is factual, everybody is going there to pick whatever it is that they can pick, knowing fully well they don't even have the support of the people. And there are so many other things in today's, and even with the insecurity that you have, the fact that insecurity has sort of like worsened. People were speaking all these years. Tinubu couldn't be bothered. It took the America designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern for him to even bother and be interested in all the security machinations. And you see where all of that is going to. And I think that's it. Yeah.
So there is no chance in the world for President Tinubu and the APC to win 2027 election?
There is no chance in the world. And because for me, I will always say, inshallah, as a Muslim, anything in the future, you put inshallah. There's no chance in the world, inshallah, for the former governor of Lagos State, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to win the 2027 election.
What if he wins?
What if he wins? Then he will be recognized as a winner.